signs indicate that Jesus' return is very, very close. Thousands of years, followers of Jesus Christ have been anticipating his second coming as a time of peace and joy. However, before the Savior arrives, the inhabitants of the earth will go through great trials and calamities. Our Heavenly Father wants us to be prepared for these difficulties and spiritually ready for when the Savior comes in his glory. That's why he has given us signs, events that will indicate the proximity of the second coming. Over time, God has revealed these signs to prophets, stating that all faithful followers of Christ will recognize them and be eagerly anticipating their fulfillment. If we are obedient and faithful, we'll study the scriptures and recognize these signs. But before we jump into the video, throw in that like to help the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red button and become part of the family. We'll have new videos every week to strengthen your faith. Amen. Let's get into it. Some of the signs foretelling the second coming of Jesus Christ have already occurred or are happening today. Others will unfold in the future: iniquities, wars, and turmoil. Many of these signs are truly terrifying. Prophets warned that the earth will experience great upheavals, iniquities, wars, and sufferings. Prophet Daniel said that the time before the second coming would be a period of difficulties like the world has never known. Daniel 12, verse 1. The Lord said, "And the love of men will wax cold, and iniquity will abound, and all things shall be in commotion, for fear shall take hold of all." We can expect earthquakes, diseases, famine, severe storms, lightning, and thunder. Matthew 24, verses 7. Hail will destroy the crops of the earth. Jesus told his disciples that wars would fill the earth, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, and nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Matthew 24, so 6:07. Certainly. See what the Bible says about it. Now, when these things begin to happen, rejoice and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. Luke 21, verse 28. Jesus said that when the signs he prophesied occur, we should rejoice because our redemption is near. The signs indicate that Jesus' return is very, very close. Some may think that the Savior won't come back soon because wars and earthquakes have always existed. However, when we check the statistics, we'll see that such a conclusion is not valid. In Jesus' time, these signs didn't occur with the same intensity as today. In Jesus' time, earthquakes and hurricanes didn't happen as frequently or with the same destructive power as they do now. In 2005, there were 12 hurricanes and dozens of earthquakes. That's strong evidence that Jesus is indeed coming back for us. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Luke 21, verse 27. Wars also didn't happen with the same force. Today, we read about them in the news every day. More than 500,000 children between 7 and 18 years old are currently fighting in wars around the world. This information comes from the UN. The intensity of the signs leads us to the conclusion that something is about to happen. Even my philosophy professor in journalism school admitted, "Look, religion isn't my area of study, but there are strange things happening in this world, as Jesus said. So, be ready. Because the time when you least expect it, the Son of Man will come." Matthew 24, verse 44. Christ prophesied that astronomical signs would also occur before his return. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Matthew 24, verse 29. There's the great earthquake. I saw when the Lamb opened the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth, the moon became like blood, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth as the fig tree sheds its winter fruit when shaken by a gale. Revelation 6:12-13. Falling stars. This event was pointed out by Christ as the astronomical reference that would come after the darkening of the sun and the loss of the moon's natural light, which turned into blood. Jesus said in Matthew 24, verse 29, "The stars will fall from the firmament." Naturally, Christ was referring to what we call shooting stars.
Let's look at one of the many testimonies about such an event. Probably the most remarkable meteor shower ever seen was the Leonids on the night following November 12, 1833. Some meteorological stations estimated more than 200,000 meteors per hour for about 5 or 6 hours. How impressive! Even the stars tell us that Jesus is coming back. Note that all the signs predicted by Jesus in Matthew 24 have already been fulfilled. Only one remains, and it's already underway: the preaching of the gospel throughout the world. Regarding the tsunami, in Jesus' words in Matthew 24 and Luke 21, we see implicit in his prediction what happened on December 26, 2004. God knows all things. Nothing surprises him. Some things he allows, tolerates others. He sends them as a condemnation. The tsunami that struck Southeast Asia was a consequence of a broad and profound disorder occurring on our planet. The most surprising thing about this event in Asia is that no animal was killed by the waves because they all found refuge in some safe place. Too bad humans didn't realize that. We shouldn't have a chaotic view of the end of the world, quite the opposite. Our view is of divine intervention in human affairs, where God will transform our planet to its original state before sin became part of our nature. We weren't created to live in this condition. We were made for happiness, holiness, and eternity. We should rejoice in the fact that soon Jesus will end evil and all its bad consequences. So, get ready to meet your Lord, because he will come soon. For yet in a little while, the one who is coming will come and will not delay. Hebrews 10, verse 37. Well, my brothers and sisters, we must be prepared for that great day. If you enjoyed the video, drop that like, and if you're new here on the channel, click that red button, subscribe, and become part of our family.